अंतःकरण इतना मलिन हो चुका है कि रसिकों द्वारा यह जान भी अपने भुजाओं के पसारे अपनी वात्सल्यमयी दृष्टि से हमारी प्रतीक्षा कर रहे हो, तुम्हारे शरण मैं नहीं आ पाता. O my divine beloved, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, causelessly merciful Sri Krishna, having ignored you since time immemorial, I have been suffering. Due to sins committed lifetime after lifetime, my mind have become so polluted, even though your saints are telling me you're waiting for me, with arms outstretched to embrace me, with a divine life to grace me, still I fail to surrender to you completely. All glories to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Shri Radhe Shyam. All glories to all teachers of these principles of righteous conduct. All glories to all teachers who teach the principle of love for God. All glories to the Devas. All glories to all aspiring souls. Thank you for joining me. The subject of the two parts of happiness. There are two parts of happiness. One part is called Shreya Marg. Shreya means the path of happiness that leads one to God. That kind of happiness that you will receive when you attain love for God. And Preya Marg are those who are seeking happiness from the world. There are 5 types of happiness we receive from the world through the 5 types of sense objects. We have 5 senses, so there are 5 things we can enjoy in the world, isn't it? Things to see, things to taste, things to touch, things to smell, and things to hear, like music, nice delicacies to taste, going to Paris, going to London, watching movies. We enjoy 5 types of happiness through our senses. And these sensual pleasures have a beginning and an end. And you and I, we have observed we are not satisfied irregardless of what we achieve in the world, even regardless of the quality of comforts, luxuries that money can buy. We don't find complete satisfaction, so we keep raising the bar. This is because the desires of the world can only satisfy the needs of the body. The world is meant to satisfy the needs of the body by keeping your body healthy. You eat the right nutritious foods, take the right minerals, drink enough water, do some exercise. To keep the body healthy is what the world is meant for. But because we don't recognize that we are the soul that lives in the body, we are life. The body is lifeless. Right now, even though my body through which I am speaking seems to be alive, it's only moving because I am directing it from within. The soul is the conscious entity. And the soul and God lives in each life form you see, in each human being, in each animal, in each tree. Everything that has life, God resides there, along with an individual soul. So you and I can only be satisfied when we get the happiness that God enjoys. And the purpose of this human form is to give us that opportunity. But not recognizing ourselves as the soul and considering ourselves to be just the body, we reduce our scope of search for happiness to just sensual pleasures, and foolishly consider that there is nothing beyond things to see, things to taste, things to touch, things to smell. So we buy better cars, we buy bigger houses, we try to increase the quality of sensual pleasure, better comforts, better luxuries, thinking that this will satisfy the soul, which is impossible. The soul wants a kind of happiness that is described in the scriptures as Yovai Buma, Tatsukam. That happiness which is ever increasing. We have observed that nothing in the world gives ever increasing happiness. In fact, the indulgence we have experienced so far is that the longer we watch a movie, the more we get bored of it. We watch it the best movie, 1 time, 2 time, 3 time. You will hardly find anyone who wants to see it again. The indulgence of sex, which is the greatest pleasure human beings indulge in, after one has, the desire has left, then there is no pleasure in it anymore. The man who was lusty and traveling to various places just to meet his beloved, after the desire has left him through his indulgence with that woman, then that woman becomes burdensome. So we have to consider these things and recognize that we're not the body, and trying to be happy through the senses only pertaining to the desires of the sense and the body cannot satisfy the soul. The world is for the body's maintenance, and God is the subject of the soul. Now, there are 3 paths described in the scriptures to know God. And the same scriptures describe it's impossible to know God. But at the same time, it is saying there are 3 paths to know God. Through action, through knowledge, and through the practice of loving God. These are the 3 paths. Actions, good actions, which is called karma, good actions only bring temporary satisfaction, and the height of it is that it takes you to one of the 7 material heavens. And such people who practice karma, which means good actions, good actions without any relation to loving God, it is described as yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadanti avipaschitaha veda vada rataha parta nanyad astiti vadinaha kamat manaha swarga paraha Janma karma phala pradam kriya visesha bahulam bhogishvarya gatim prati bhogishvarya prasaktanam taya pahad rita chetasam vyavyasatmika buddhihi samadau na vidhiyati. Which means, in chapter 2, verse 42 to 44, the Lord is saying, listen, those who are thinking that good actions alone will please God should understand that unwise persons, not knowing that the true purpose of life is the attainment of love for the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, and are fond of interpreting the fleetingly enchanting words of the Vedas that gives material benefits as the ultimate goal of life. Meaning that, as we were discussing earlier, that most people think the limit of happiness is to enjoy the five senses and let me get the best quality of things to eat, the best quality car, the best quality house, the best quality clothes, and reducing themselves to the idea that I am the body, and so they think that this is the limit of what there is, not knowing that there is a higher purpose. And this comes because they don't know that they're the conscious soul, a life force. They are actual energy of God. Not knowing this, they only reduce themselves to the foolish conclusion that I am this body I see in the mirror. One needs to the first understanding. All mistakes come from this one misunderstanding that I am the body, not recognizing I am the life force within the body. When you recognize you're the life force within the body, that you're the eternal soul, then you will pursue God, recognizing that only He can satisfy the soul. And there's a happiness in God that is ever increasing, whereas the happiness in the world is ever decreasing. You've all eaten chocolate. Every bar of chocolate you eat, your first one is 100% delicious, second one 70%, third one 20%. If you eat 4 bars of chocolate, you get sick of it. So there's an ever decreasing nature of indulgence in sensual pleasures. It's called diminishing returns. But we, being a part of God, sharing the same nature of God, we want a happiness that gives ever increasing satisfaction. They say when you see God, the moment you see Him, you will be amazed of how beautiful He looks. The next moment, even more beautiful. The next moment, even more beautiful. He keeps increasing in beauty when you keep looking at Him. In the world, a woman, very pretty woman, she is even the Miss Universe. From a distance, she looks very beautiful, perfect. But when you get closer, you start seeing the makeup, and then you start seeing some flaws, and that's the nature of everything in the world. It's the opposite of what true happiness is. The happiness in this world is ever decreasing. The happiness you can get from God is ever increasing. But first you have to get to know God before you can experience His happiness. And these people whose mind is fixed on the idea that they're the body and they only pursue things of the world. And the Lord is saying their hearts are filled with desires, and their goal is one of the material heavens. There are 7 material heavens. Each one It gives a higher and higher level of comforts, a higher and higher level, a standard of comforts, luxuries, and beauty and abilities. Just like if you have money, you will go to the best quality neighborhood and buy the best quality food, best quality of everything. In the same way, there are 7 material heavens, but this is not God's kingdom. This is still in the material universe. There are countless solar systems in our galaxies, hundreds of billions, and then there are hundreds of billions of such galaxies. If there's one Earth-like planet in each solar system, then there are hundreds of billions of places to live in our galaxy, and then there are hundreds of billions of galaxies with hundreds of billions of Earth-like planets. So God's creation is infinite. And this is still only the material realm. There's a realm that transcends the material universe, which is God's divine, everlasting, untouchable universe that never goes through creation, never decays. There's no need for our sun or the moon there. Everything is self-luminous. There you don't born and you don't die. Everyone lives in perfect beauty, perfect strength. Everyone has perfect knowledge. Everything that God possesses, all of his associates in his kingdom, God has given them his perfection. The only thing that God retains is the creation of the universe, the maintenance of it, and the dissolution of it. Only God has control of that. But every other ability that God has, he gives to his associates. He's not selfish. He doesn't want to lord it over anyone. He's so magnanimous, he gives everyone all of his abilities. The only thing that God keeps and he alone controls is the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the material universe with all the Earth-like planets, all the 7 heavens. He alone does that. But everything else you will enjoy. So these people whose hearts are filled with desires and their goal is one of the material heavens, they advocate many sacrifices and rituals that yield wealth, worldly pleasure, and high birth. Thus, attached to enjoyment and opulence, deluded by these temporary pleasures. You see, even the material heaven is a temporary place. Just like this world, this body is a temporary body. In fact, during your lifetime, you're changing your body during your lifetime. Every 7 years, it's a new body. All the cells that make up your body are different 7 years ago. Even your skeletal structure, you don't realize it, but it's oozing away and it's being excreted, and at the same time a new skeletal structure, all the cells that make up your bones, your muscles, your tissues are new every 7 years. Right now you are reincarnating as you live. And then when the body becomes old and useless because the cells have stopped replicating as they did when you were young, then the body becomes useless through decay, natural decay. Everything decays in this world. And then when the body becomes useless like old clothes, you discard it, and God gives you another body according to what you deserve. If you get attached to the heavenly regions, then you will go there where you're attached to. If you get attached to some human being, you will come back among them. If you get attached to wickedness and you worship ghosts and spirits, you will become one. And if you get attached to God by practicing to love him, then you will go to God. These are the 4 destinations of any human being. And you choose where you want to go. I suggest to you that you try to go to God, because then you can be completely satiated, because only God can satisfy the soul. You, the soul being a part of God, can only be satisfied with the amenities that God possesses. So, such people who are attached to enjoyment and opulence, being deluded by these temporary pleasures, they do not attain the resolve. You see, you have to become resolved. You have to make a resolute decision, an unshakable decision. They do not attain the resolve to dedicate themselves to attain love for the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. So how will this love be attained? Through practice. In the Gita, it says in chapter 9, verse 22, it says, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janha parupashate tesham nitya bhuktanam yugakshimam vaham yaham. You would need to give up the desires for the things of this world, be satisfied. You have food, shelter, clothing. You have to live like a yogi, a renunciant. If you're married, perform your duty, but put your hopes in God. Give your heart to God. If you're not married and you're an older person like myself, you should be thinking of how to invest more of your time in contemplation, meditation, and thoughts of God. Because you will die, we all will die, and before you die, you have to know where you're going. And as we pointed out, if you leave this world attached to some human being, you will come back among them. If you leave this world attached to the devas who you practice rituals to, you will go to one of them if you are good enough. If you are a wicked person, then you will go into a lower species. And if you become God realized, then you will go to God. So the purpose of this life is giving you an opportunity to attain divinity. So the Lord is saying that those who are thinking of no other, you're having God alone in your mind because you have recognized by reason, my happiness, my self-interest is not to be found in the world and the pleasures of the world, but it's to be found in God. By your reasoning and understanding, you have come to this conclusion. So your mind now is completely fixed on God alone. Ananyas means no other. Chintayanto means mind thinking of no other. And you're not soliciting from God anything. Parupashate. You have you're not close and you're not desiring anything else. Nitya bhuktanam. Your mind is always fixed on God. Nitya, all the time, always. To such an individual, God gives complete protection. He will preserve what you have, spiritual and material, and He will supply what you lack, both spiritual and material. See, the Lord is saying that, listen, I am who can satisfy you. In chapter 10, verse 8, 9, 10, and 11. These are called Chatur Shloki. These are the 4 most important verses that God is speaking in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matha sarvam pravartate iti madva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvittaha. Then it means, Sri Krishna is speaking, Bhagavan Uvacha, I am Krishna, the sweet absolute, the origin of all, of the entire universe of material and transcendental play, activity, purpose, and the Vedas and allied scriptures which give guidance, all evolve from me alone. Realizing this hidden treasure, persons of fine theistic intelligence surpass the mundane material universe and embrace the path of love divine, which is called Raga Marg, and they adore me forever. So these are people who have understanding of the real purpose of life is to love and serve God. Through their experience, they have understood that the happiness that they hope to have, as we all do, cannot be found in the world. By this reason, they understand since there is only 2 places to look for happiness, either in the world or in God. And through my experience and understanding, I didn't find it in the world. No rich man is yet completely satiated. He has all the money to buy everything. After you have bought everything, what then? The mind is still not completely satisfied. So since you can't find it in the world, it must be in God, because there's only 2 places to look for it. And God is saying, He is that person you're looking for. In the next verse, 10:9, he says, that Makchitaha madgataha prana bodhayantayas paras param katayantascha mam nityam tushanticha ramanticha. That such devotees who understand that God is who they are looking for, their minds are always fixed on God, and they always speak of me, enlightening one another of my glories, and they find complete delight in doing so, and complete satisfaction in doing so. And then in the next verse, 10:10, the Lord continues to say that Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti che. That thereafter, when that person is so immersed in God consciousness, with his mind completely always fixed on God, whatever and wherever he is, God, who lives in his heart, who lives in each one of us, God lives in us. He gives his knowledge, his intelligence. Now we don't need to use our imperfect intelligence. God will give us his intelligence, guiding us and inspiring us so that we can attain him, so that we can come to him. Look at that. When your mind is completely wrapped up in God, God will, who resides in you, will give you his intelligence by which you can attain him, by which you can come to him, by which you can attain your goal of love for God. Then in the last verse, 10:11, the Lord says, Tesham ivan kampartam aham agyana yam tamaha nashami atma bhavashto gyan dipena bhavsvata. Out of compassion for them, I situated within the hearts of all living beings, dispel the darkness of ignorance with the radiance of knowledge. Thank you very much for joining me. Please do so the next time. We will continue this very wonderful subject of God realization that can be found in the Bhagavad Gita. I encourage you to get a copy and read it again and again so that you can make your own decision. Jai Shri Radhe.
Tu Radhe Radhe Gaun